Hey everybody, Travis Bowman here. I'm here with my good friend Corey in the front seat, Sam in the back seat. We're about to go to the Arkansas Retro Expo in Little Rock, Arkansas. Now this is the second year that this has happened. Last year I actually got really lucky and I found a Steel Battalion controller for a really good price and really good condition. So hopefully we're going to find some good stuff this year as well. We're up super early. Really excited about this. Before we actually get there, let's talk about what we would like to find, and then at the end of this video we'll show what we actually did find. So Corey, why don't you go first?
I'm looking for games that I enjoyed as a child, right? A lot of us are chasing nostalgia with this hobby, and that's certainly my mission today, is to locate and purchase a copy of Digimon World 2 on the PlayStation 1, and really just any peripherals that are unique, you know? It's one of the things that I enjoy most about the hobby, is getting to experience games in new ways with new methods of control. So that's what I'm looking for today.
What about you, Sam?
I want Snowboard Kids too. I'm excited to see stuff I forgot about.
Okay,
really.
well,
So,
you're going to see a lot of that, I imagine. I'm into anything Sega, anything PC Engine, if it's weird, you know, and within reason, then I'll pick it up. But here we go, in reverse.
And we're off.
And we're off.
my forehead. Get all that grease and sweat.
Back at the house, we went to the con and we stopped at the Game Exchange on the way back home. We all got some stuff out of it, so I guess we should probably talk about what we got first, and then we'll talk about our experience with the con in general. So Sam, you're up first.
I got it. I went there for Snowboard Kids 2 and I came back with Snowboard Kids 2.
So you came and got exactly what you were looking for,
Yeah.
which is really strange, actually. That you said exactly what you wanted to get, you went and got it, and that's the only thing that you got. So
It's the only thing of my collection that I don't have.
it looks really good too. It's in good shape, and you got a pretty good price on it, right? So
Yeah.
I actually didn't get anything at the con. I walked around and got a bunch of footage mostly, and I looked at some things. I made some offers on some things, but fortunately didn't make it happen. But we went to the Game Exchange just to see what they had, and I grabbed the Xbox original DVD remote with the dongle, because if you don't know, you can't watch DVDs on your original Xbox without this thing. It's kind of a screwed up thing that Microsoft did back in the day.
Classic Microsoft.
Classic
though.
Microsoft, but
Thanks, Bill.
now with my setup and I've got my upscaler and everything, I can watch DVDs and stuff here in the living room with my original Xbox, so that's kind of cool. Got Medal of Honor on the original PlayStation for a pretty decent price, 13 bucks. The case is really disgusting, but the disc is in decent shape, so I'm looking forward to kind of swapping this case out and making it look shiny again. And I got this from Corey, actually. He was going to trade this for other stuff, but I was like, why don't you just let me buy that from you instead? Castlevania Curse of Darkness on the original Xbox, and it's complete with the manual and all that good stuff too.
I feel like I came out like a bandit.
You did do pretty good.
I did okay.
You did the best out of all of them.
I budgeted myself $200, not counting what I also purchased from Game Exchange. I also found some pretty good titles to add to my collection at the convention. First thing I want to show you guys I picked up. Man, it's a special one. But all the online stores have this priced at close to $300, you know, in the realm of $300. And I managed to get this sealed PAL copy for $190. I don't know if that's a great deal on the PAL version or not. Truthfully, I don't care, because I'm going to open this.
Yeah, open.
So we'll open that in just a little bit. One of the other great pickups I got was King's Field. It's kind of like if you took Dark Souls, made it jankier, and had to play it in first person. So I'm very excited to die a lot in King's Field, much like I do in the Dark Souls games. Now these are not official cases. These are PlayStation 2 games. This one's called Nightshade.
Yeah, that's the sequel to a game I got on the shelf over there, Shinobi.
Shinobi.
Right?
I thought so.
Mm-hmm.
It's made by Sega,
Yeah.
and I'm very excited to try it out.
That one's a female protagonist.
And this
right?
does have a female protagonist. Last one from the con is Musashi, the sequel to Brave Fencer Musashi, set in a slightly alternate universe with a very different art style. Like I said, I bought this sealed copy, and it just doesn't seem right not to open it on camera. So please enjoy as I struggle through opening this on camera right now. My god, there it is. The seal's been broken. The PAL version of Godzilla 2014 for PlayStation 4.
I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride. I wanna take you for a ride.
It's the PAL version, but it is sealed.
Seal?
Yes.
Really?
It goes for like $300.
Wow. So you're gonna open it?
Well, I'll open it later. You know, we're gonna play this tonight, probably.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Why don't we take some time to actually talk about the convention itself and what we liked about it, what we didn't like about it.
I'm not claustrophobic, but I definitely very quickly decided I needed to take a break.
It was very busy compared to last year's con. Last year's con was pretty busy though. There were a lot of people there, and
Yes,
honestly,
right.
we didn't really stick around that long. We were there for like what?
Maybe an hour and a half.
Maybe an hour and a half, 2 at the most. There were a lot of people there. There were a lot of booths there too. There was a lot to choose from, but it got very tight very quickly to the point where you have to kind of sit there and stand and wait for someone to move. Like not just one person, mind you, but an entire group of people that are looking at a specific booth. You have to kind of, strategically try to move around them. It got really tight really quickly.
Very close to how I can imagine it feels to be a sardine.
If we had come later in the day, who knows? Maybe somebody that is watching this video could potentially let us know how the rest of the con went. But we got out of there before noon today.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes. We found what we were seeking pretty quickly into the adventure, and once the crowds really poured in, it was tough to even make second or third passes. So that's great news for the organizers of the convention. I'm sure that only bodes well for them for next year. We hope that they can find a space that can accommodate a crowd like that.
It's a good problem
the
to have.
opportunity.
It is a good problem to have. They seem to be very successful, and I hope that this will continue to be an annual thing, and they'll do this next year. Let's talk about all the booths and stuff and what we saw. And were you impressed with the selection of what they had this time?
There was a great variety of items, all the way from Japanese-only imports of many popular games that have just never made it into the States, unfortunately. There was also a good selection of harder-to-find titles, which is what you kind of expect out of a convention. My first impressions were that what I really hoped to find wasn't there, which was too bad, and I managed to stumble on things that I didn't expect to see at all, mainly the Godzilla title.
Yeah, I think I was disappointed with the lack of peripherals. I don't know if I wasn't looking hard enough, but I'm really attracted to the weird stuff. Not just like a PlayStation 4 controller or like a PS1 controller, Xbox controller, like the weird stuff. Like what I got last year with this Steel Battalion controller. That was something that really caught my eye, and it was like, I gotta haggle with this guy and see if I can bring this thing home, because it's just too weird. You never see stuff like that. I saw a couple of arcade sticks like for the Sega Saturn, and I saw one Sega Saturn while I was there. So I feel like it wasn't as weird with what they had to offer this time as last time. But still, we weren't there that long. We probably could have found some more stuff if we spent more time looking.
Well, and the crowd was a motivator to get
Right.
out of there.
Yes.
Honestly. Nothing against all you fine folk that came out to the convention.
Yeah, and
Crowded rooms are just crowded.
yeah, and it was very hot too. We're in the dead of summer right now, and it was extremely hot. It felt like that no matter how much AC they were trying to push, it just was not working. It was very breathy in there, very 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 hot and humid in this room the entire time. To where we had to step out a couple times just to catch our breath a little bit. So let's talk pricing.
It was kind of all over the board. Some booths had very reasonable prices on their items, and there were some prices. I have a lot of the physical Pokemon games from the Game Boy, right? And I kind of use that as a measuring stick. when I'm considering where items are priced, I know what they're worth. They're worth about $50 for Generation 1, so that's red, blue, yellow, and sometimes green. Those games are about $50, and I saw some priced at $75, and that left a bad taste in my mouth with some of those booths that had such high prices on some of the items. Another great example, still in the realm of Pokemon, a Generation 4 title called Pokemon Soul Silver. I saw several different various levels of completion, from loose all the way to complete in box with the accessories, and the loose copy I saw was priced at $130, which is about a 30% markup.
With things like that, it's not that regulated like it is in a store. You know, like these people can charge whatever they want, but the difference is they're probably going to be stuck with those items that are overpriced at the end of the day. But on the flip side of that coin, there were a ton of people that we heard that would reach out to us and like try to pull us into the booth and be like, hey, everything you see here, make an offer on it. We don't want to go home with it. So at least most of those people were open to accepting offers. It's just, I think some of them were just starting too high. It's like, I would feel like a terrible person to try to get you to knock $40 or $50 off your asking price. But if we're looking at price charting, that's where it needs to be for it to make sense for a potential sale. One thing that I saw that I really wanted, but just there was no way. It was the Turbo Express, the TurboGrafx 16 handheld, like the Game Boy, but it's a TurboGrafx console. I saw two of them there. One was the Japanese iteration, and the other one was the American TurboGrafx 16. Very expensive. Both of them wanted around $800, but the difference was that the Turbo Express variant actually had a screen mod, and he claimed it was recapped. And it also came with the Turbo EverDrive, so you've got a device that can play every single TurboGrafx game on there, and he wanted $800. The crazy thing was the other person that had that other one was like a little bit more expensive, and you know, I didn't take the time to ask them to pull it out and talk. I mean, it could have been the same situation. They could have had the same sort of situation where it was recapped and had a new screen. I just don't know. But so that's kind of the vibe that we got, was that the prices were all over the place, and you know, if you wanted to haggle, sometimes they'd be willing to do that, but it just depends on the person. We can only review the time that we spent there. Who knows, it might have gotten crazier after we left, but we just, yeah, the space was too small. It was too small, and it's one of those weird things where it's not necessarily anybody's fault. You know, you can't be 100% certain how many people are going to walk through the door until they actually do. I don't think they did pre-sales for tickets. It was $5 at the door, you know, so people just came, and it started getting busier the more as time went on. So we kind of got what we needed and got out of there. But I think it's a really great thing for Central Arkansas. You know, we don't have a lot of stuff like this, so to see it happen is really cool. We're really glad that we got to go. I'm glad that these guys got to come with me, because I went to the last one kind of by myself, so it was nice to have some buds with me to check it out and everything.
It was such a wide variety of items. Like, it went so far beyond retro or vintage video games. There were vintage toys from the 70s up. There were VHS collections that were just mind-blowing compared to what I've seen out in the wild around me. I don't think I've seen so many VHS tapes gathered in one place in, 20 plus years. Some artists were there offering some of the work that they do that's engaged in the retro gaming space. And I think it's really cool to see local creators have an opportunity to showcase their work to a much wider audience that they would have, that they might have otherwise. So
yeah, we were talking about this earlier. If you go to a con, you're there to try to find the good deals, and usually people that will pay money for a booth and to spend all their time and effort and sweat to get everything there on display and talk to people, put the price stickers on it and stuff, they should be really willing to negotiate. And some of these guys are my friends that I try to negotiate with, but I think it's just a collective thing now that these things are very expensive. We're not as willing to let them go for a decent price as maybe like 5 or 6 years ago. I think that was kind of the overall vibe of the convention, is that everybody started really high on those prices. I didn't haggle as much as probably you did. But
I haggled a little, but honestly, I brought things with me to trade in order to have there be something to benefit the dealer.
And how much money out of pocket did you end up spending today?
Not including what I purchased at Game Exchange, because I spent $5 essentially for both of these items.
Yeah.
I spent $190 at the convention.
Right.
Literally every piece of cash that I spent went toward Godzilla. Everything else was trade.
Yeah. So Corey wins today. I thought I was going to beat him, but no. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really appreciate it, and thanks to everybody that made the Arkansas Retro Expo possible. I really hope that they do this again. I'll be really excited to go back, and hopefully you guys will come with me next time.
Sure.
Yeah. Corey's from Missouri, and Sam's from up northwest Arkansas, so hopefully they'll make the trip to come down here again and do it again. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thanks for subscribing, and I'll catch you all at the next video. Thanks very much.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Deuces.